Hey everyone, it's Stellar Nan. For today's craft video, I'm making a Pikachu Game Boy shaped pinboard. This specific Game Boy is based off of the Pokemon Yellow Game Boy color that features Pikachu, Togepi, and Jigglypuff. Something I find particularly neat about the Game Boy is that this year in April and in July, the Game Boy turned 30 in Japan and North America, respectively. For this craft, I use a large corkboard as well as thinner pieces of corkboard layered on top. So not only can you put your pin collection on the screen, but you can also put it in pretty much any part of the Game Boy. You can put some here, there. You can even put it on the buttons. The buttons, to make them pop a little bit more, I layered some corkboard and then put felt over it. So it kind of has like a little bit of a 3D effect going on. It's very slight, but I think it's cool. For this craft, you'll need these materials. A thick cork board that's 17 inches by 23 inches. A second thinner cork board that's 12 inches by 22 inches, or at least 12 inches by 15 inches. The printed pattern and sizing reference image. You can find them in the description box below. Yellow paint and a paintbrush. In this case, I use latex paint because it's more malleable and better suited for corkboard. You'll need various colors of felt, including yellow for Pikachu, pink for Jigglypuff, tan and white for Togepi. Additionally, you'll need blue for the directional pad, green for the B button, and red for the A button. Oh, and this final black piece of felt will be used for the screen's border as well as the select and start buttons. If you'd like the border to be cut in one single piece, you'll need the felt to measure out to be at least 12 by 11 inches. You'll also need a little bit of white and red felt for the Pokeball piece, a pencil, a ruler, chalk for marking where to cut on the darker felt, scissors, and optionally an X-Acto knife, E6000 glue. As for paint, you'll need a small amount of red, blue, black, and white. You can optionally use teal to paint Jigglypuff's eyes, or use the same blue for Togepi's shell to save on paint colors. And lastly, a small paintbrush and a cup of water for it to change your paint colors. First, paint the larger piece of corkboard entirely in yellow. Set it aside and wait for it to dry completely. Depending on how opaque you'd like the final craft to be, you may want to paint it a second, third, or fourth coat, according to your preference. I personally put a lot of faith in this latex paint being fairly opaque. On the thinner piece of corkboard, measure and mark a 12-inch by 11-inch section. Then cut it out. Next, with the black felt, measure a matching 12-inch by 11-inch piece. Then cut it out. The center of this black felt will need to be cut out to leave room for the Gameboy screen. Using some chalk, mark the following measurements as a cutting guide. 1.5 inches from the top, 2 1/8 from each side, and 2 5/8 from the bottom. Then cut out the center. Combine the black felt border on top of the thinner cork board of the same size with some E6000 glue. Onto the buttons. Cut out the button pattern pieces. Remember when thinking that holding down a button increased your chances of catching a Pokemon? With the pattern pieces cut out the buttons from the felt. Using the extra corkboard scraps from earlier, cut out another set of the buttons from the pattern. Slap on some E6000 glue to attach the felt buttons to the cork buttons. Time to cut out those Pokemon pattern pieces. Armed with these new pattern pieces, cut the Pokemon out from their corresponding felt colors. With the various paint colors and the printed pattern pieces as a reference, very carefully pencil in and paint the details on the faces of all the Pokemon. When I was in school, around the time Gen 1 came out, Japan already had Gen 2 content out. And I used to frequent this anime/video game merch import store, and they had all kinds of like Gen 2 posters and toys and stuff out way before, Toys R Us or anything else. And so I actually bought like a Togepi and some things, brought them to school, and earned temporary celebrity status in my little school because people were losing their minds over seeing Gen 2 stuff before it was announced, released, or shown in the US. And no one else knew of this store, I guess. At least of the kids that went to my school. And that was pretty fun. Didn't last very long because soon Gen 2 came out and then no one cared. Once you think you've got these Pokemon picture perfect, it's time to add them in a snap. Glue the Pocket Monsters directly onto the Gameboy Screen's border, and you're good to Pokemon Go, bro. Give your Game Boy a screen by gluing the screen we made to the larger yellow corkboard from earlier. Measure and place the screen 1.25 inches from the top and 2.5 inches from either side. Using the printed mock-up reference as a measurement guide, glue those freshly made buttons onto your Game Boy. And of course, as you can see, I have quite a collection of Pokemon pens, including the Squirtle Squad, Heart Disc, Zamazenta from the new Pokemon Sword and Shield games, Jumpman, Ouija, infamously weak to Ghost type, and of course, Rockman. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed it and want to support me, join the Stellar Fam by subscribing to my channel. Stay stellar! The little spot right here that's red on the Pokeball signifies that the Game Boy's on. The red light